Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Erewash series. Erewash is one of the 9 subdivisions of the county of Derbyshire. There are 14 civil parishes within it. Let's see which one we're in today. Okay, today in the borough of Erewash, I've got a nice place for you which you can't access using a car. You can only access it legally on foot, on Bridleways and Footpaths. But that doesn't mean it hasn't got anything interesting in it. It certainly does. It has a hall, and that is Hopwell Hall. Let's go for a walk around the parish of Hopwell. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Hopwell is a hamlet and civil parish in the southeast of Derbyshire, the population of which at the 2011 census was just 33. It lies to the south of Dale Abbey and to the north of Draycott. Despite its small size, you can catch a bus out here. To get to Hopwell, you'll need the I4 bus service, which runs along the B5010, the parish's southern boundary. All the filming for this one had to be done entirely on foot. Thankfully, there are a network of paths and bridleways in this part of Derbyshire. Apart from the B5010, Hopwell has no public roads, and the only way you can access the main property in the parish, Hopwell Hall, is by using them. So this one, legally speaking, can only ever be accessed totally on foot, because this track that I'm walking on here, it looks like a pretty nice road actually, but the only people that are allowed to drive on this are people who actually live up here, because it's a bridleway. We've seen ones like this before. Wallingwells in Nottinghamshire, if you remember that had a track that you can only drive on if you have permission. It's the same here, and because of that, I've got to do this entirely on foot. But thankfully, this is a circular route, because this path is not the only one that leads up towards Hopwell Hall. There's another one which is over there, over this hedge. You can't quite see it at the moment because it's too far away, but I'll basically be walking up this path and walking back down that one to get back to the main road where I've parked the car. By the way, in an actual parking space, believe it or not, there is actually a little lay-by that I can pull in perfectly legally. Now I can take a shortcut here, because there are 2 ways around Hopwell Hall. There's the longer route, which goes behind the hall and into a wooded area, which also joins to that footpath, or there's the route I'm going to take, which is the shorter route, which comes along the front of Hopwell Hall and joins that path and takes me back down towards the road. So let's go and see what we can find up here. Mentioned in the Domesday Book in 1086, Hopwell was a settlement in the Hundred of Morleystone. At that time, it had a recorded population of 14 in just 3 households. It doesn't have a lot more than that these days. The most notable building in the parish is Hopwell Hall, originally built in 1720. We're walking along this bridleway to the north before turning right onto another public right-of-way across a field, and luckily for us, that's going to give us a great view of the hall. It might not be totally obvious, but this part of the route is uphill. The maximum elevation above sea level on this route is 105 metres, the lowest being 75 metres, and that's on the B5010. Make no mistake about it, from here you can see quite a lot. There are power stations on the horizon, and we're not far from East Midlands Airport, so there's planes in the sky too. We're approaching Hopwell Hall now, built by Henry Keyes on the site of a previous 16th century hall belonging to the Sacheverell family. Henry Keyes inherited the estate in 1661. It was previously owned by his cousin, Ferdinand Sacheverell. Keyes acquired neighbouring land from the Piggin family to extend his estate. The hall was demolished after a fire in 1957 and a new building was erected on the site. There's also a large private house on the site too, confusingly also called Hopwell Hall. So there are two things about Hopwell Hall that I find quite amazing. One, how big it is, because now I'm stood right next to it, I can actually appreciate its size. Just seeing pictures of it on the internet before I came here, I didn't think it was all that big, but trust me, that's actually quite large. And the other thing is the view it has. If I turn the camera around, look at this. It's actually on top of a hill, and it has this most amazing panorama. I can see all sorts from here. It's quite amazing. You've got to be very lucky to live up here. Hopwell Hall was owned by 5 generations of the Pears family from 1786 to 1921. Thomas Pears I was an attorney in Leicester, and his uncle John Pears had been mayor of Leicester in 1714. Thomas married Anne Norton and they bought Hopwell Hall in 1786. Their eldest son, Thomas Pears II, was a wealthy lawyer and banker in London. He would go on to own numerous properties including Narborough Hall and Greyfriars in Leicester. When his father died in 1805, he inherited Hopwell Hall, which he retired to. Okay, so now we've reached the other track, which as you can see is a bit less well maintained, but regardless it's still passable. I can walk on it, and it will take us back down to the main road where the car is parked. Up there, incidentally, according to Google Maps, there's an alpaca farm. So yeah, that's another attraction, I suppose, for Hopwell Hall. Now we're walking away from the hall and back down towards the road. Aside from the hall, Hopwell has a few other isolated buildings and a few more footpaths. For the most part though, this is just a vast swathe of lush, open Derbyshire countryside, and being sited on a hill, it's certainly a place I'd recommend if you're looking for new places to go walking. As we walk away down the second footpath, you are treated to some more good views of Hopwell Hall. After Thomas Pears II, the hall passed to his younger brother John Pears. It continued to be passed down through the Pears family until in 1921, Cecil Henry Pears gave Hopwell Hall and 15 acres of its land to become a special residential school for boys. The aforementioned fire destroyed the hall in 1957 and it was demolished. A new concrete building was erected on the site of the old hall, and the special school continued to operate there until it was closed in 1995. To finish, we're back at the main road, and to my surprise, there was a parish notice board here. Tick it off, people, Hopwell has been visited. And there you go, I'm all the way around the route. Don't forget I took the shorter route. There is a longer way, like I said earlier. You can go around the back of the hall through a wooded area, and it still leads to that second footpath, which will bring you back down to the main road where I'm standing right now. Time for me to move on to my next one here in the borough of Erewash, which is not too far away. In fact, all I need to do is turn the car around and drive that away for about a mile. This has been the Parish of Hopwell, and I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.